Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Review. I am David Allen. The following content was originally intended for the G.I. Joe fan club, but due to unforeseen circumstances, this content will no longer be used in that venue. And so I wanted to share them with you here. I hope you enjoy. Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe Fan Club Live. This is our special yearbook episode. It is our last episode of this season of the G.I. Joe Fan Club Live. I want to thank my two co-hosts, James Kavanaugh Jr., the author of the G.I. Joe Rank and File series and the RAHC guide, and Jason Packard, the creator of custom one-of-a-kind unique items for the G.I. Joe community, such as challenge coins, blueprints, file cards, magnets, stickers. Thank you, both of you, for joining me today for this year roundup.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much, David.
So I'm going to give a little bit of a rundown of the key events of the year, and then I'll ask each of you to chime in as what you feel or the highlights, and then we will go over the detractions, and I will go to each of you for that as well. So we're all very deep into the G.I. Joe community, and I'm sure I'm not mistaken if I say that this has been a seminal year for the G.I. Joe brand, and there has been a lot of things going on within the G.I. Joe community, in the professional G.I. Joe world, and in the fan community world. Hasbro has had two successful G.I. Joe HasLabs. Super 7 has had several waves of their Ultimate G.I. Joes and dozens of G.I. Joe reaction figures. James has launched the new G.I. Joe fan club with several issues of the G.I. Joe fan club magazine and the membership kit that has come out this year. Our co-host Dan Klingesmith has put out probably 4 volumes of his series, creating the history of G.I. Joe this year. Jason Packard has put out probably 6 absolutely beautiful challenge coins and all kinds of really fun little knickknacks to make the fanboys salivate. And there have been a few Kickstarters that have been very successful this year as well, with a couple of shaky ones along the way, and some news of delays on one Kickstarter, with the RoboSkull being delayed, another Kickstarter, the After Action Report Command Files, having a little bit of a suspension and then relaunch. And so those are really, and then a lot of Action Force this year. This has been a big year for Action Force as well. So with all that said, do you guys have any highlights that you feel this year you'd like to call out? James?
Well, you had me at the G.I. Joe fan club, so I figured everything else was just done. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad you guys are here, and I'm glad everybody seems happy with it. But on the larger picture of G.I. Joe, absolutely. I mean, we got more classified figures than ever. I mean, they're expanding. In a sense, you nailed it all. I mean, the classified's on a huge uptick. Super 7's got some amazing Ultimate 7 inches. Oh, thank you. Yeah, look at that. I like how you got it wrapped. The initial newsletter. Fan projects, sure, are an all-time high. I mean, it really is, like you said, a great uptick for G.I. Joe and collectors as a whole. Community seems positive and regrouping post-COVID. When we weren't able to meet, that was a big downer for everybody for a year or two, not being able to hit the shows that they liked, or as many as they liked. I think the community shows are really just onward and upward, getting bigger, better, and more. I mean, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Absolutely.
I think when you mentioned shows, this year's Joe Fest, which is probably tomorrow, as this gets aired or finished up, is going to be absolutely off the chain, as the teenagers like to call it, on fire. On
The kids
fire.
say.
What the kids say, right? Jason, what are your highlights of the year? I know you're into different things than us. You're more into the
Yeah.
community aspect of the G.I. Joe community than the primary Hasbro part of it. But what do you think has been successful this year and is a positive for the community?
I think that everything's moving in a positive direction, and I really have to say it's true. The classified line, we got more classified line figures this year than I think we've had in the last 2 years combined. And oftentimes they're cool army builders like the Crimson Guard, the Python Crimson Guard, the Bats, the Python Bats. It's just like there's so much brand new product coming to bear. Some of it's very well received. Some of it, like the Super 7, it's a very niche kind of collectors group. I really am looking forward to the Robo Skull Mark II. I think that's probably one of the coolest modern, what do you want to say, modern Kickstarter type projects coming out too. Oh, you got Destro right there, Super 7 Ultimate, right? Yeah, it's amazing the amount of new product that's coming out. There's always something new. I'm still browsing online every day to pick up targets of opportunity. I just got a sealed mint and seal box detonator just today, crispy one. I know it's not that big of a deal, but the reality is I got one when I was 10, and then I got rid of it probably a couple years later, and I never had another one. Now I have one again. Now I got the Nitro Viper card that I'm trying to bring out for people so that they can have a nice looking facsimile of it. I'm looking forward to Joe Fest in a very big way. Let me tell you something. Joe Fest is going to be this year. It's going to be the biggest year by far we've had since it started, and I think it was 2018. 2018 was in the first year. It's going to be probably 3 times as big as that year. And I think at this point, this might even be the last one we do in Augusta. It might even move on from there because it's just getting so huge. We have more vendors. We have more artists. I want to say it's probably going to top 8,000 attendees this year, you know, and I like getting involved in it in the best way that I can. I try to get there a whole day before the show to help with the setup crew operations. There's a good chance, by the way, that maybe, just maybe, you know, we're actually going to have real vendor crew and guest badges this year, maybe. And maybe if we're lucky, maybe they're going to put the map on the back of it so that, you know, we actually have a full-scale map with the hours and the website for information. You can look for all that. Maybe, just maybe, they're going to come on a beautiful lanyard, a nice themed lanyard with a detachable nest to it, so you can take it off and look at it if you need to. But we'll see about that, won't we? We will see about that.
Thank God I was sitting for all that, Packard. You're blowing my mind there.
I know, man. You paid for the whole seat, but you only needed what? The edge.
You have a point, though,
This really
Jason.
is a good year.
Jason, you definitely have a point. The show has stepped up this year and in a big way, not only for its guests and for its attendees to be a professional, more run show. They have the panels are going to be incredible. It's going to be like day to day. Every hour there's going to be panels probably for the 3 days that the show's that many panels. I'm not even sure if I'll be able to attend all the panels because I'll be helping out with the show. I'm one of the showrunners and I help out with the show, and it's really looking really good this year. I think Ed has really stepped up. I know he's losing a lot of hair and a lot of sleep because of it. But definitely stepped up this year, and I think everybody on the team has stepped up. So I'm really looking forward. I think it's going to be the best year so far, and then next year will probably be the best year so far. It'll keep going.
Every year it should build.
So now
every year.
We've had mostly positive this year. You know, we've also had a lot of, not a lot, a couple of interesting, I'm not going to say negative, but things that kind of shook the community, because we've been shook before, and I don't want a situation like the Eric Eamon, for all those guys that know Eric Eamon in the community. I don't want that situation again.
Oh, just don't give people, friends, and family money on a product that they're maybe going to deliver and maybe not. That's a simple fix for the most part.
So, but the RoboSkull Mark II has been delayed. It was supposed to be out this month. That was the predicted time frame, but
that's fine.
now they're looking at maybe September, maybe. But they're working very hard. I still have faith that they're going to deliver the product. I still have faith in that team. I still have faith in what we've invested. I got to say,
I have no doubt, because we've actually seen like 90% completed product on the floor. Like they're already there. At this point, it's done. It's just a matter of getting production ramped up to actually deliver it. I have no doubt. Now, ideally, they would get it out before Joe Fest, because can you imagine the floor at Joe Fest if those are there?
I tell you what, I apologize. We have a dog we're watching. He was in a fire and he's being an issue. Hold on I mean, you guys can go ahead and talk.
that's
Let
fine.
me take care of it. He's going to be an issue probably for the rest of the
Okay, no problem.
do something.
So yeah, I think it's fine.
Come on.
We're not going to make it by Joe Fest. I know that. I know for a fact.
That's okay. That's okay.
We may make it by AR next year, but I don't know. We'll just have to hold on with that one. But the next one, is the G.I. Joe After Action Report command files. Now, the command files team has put out 3 volumes, successfully kickstarted, and they've released 2 of their volumes. So I have faith they're going to put out the 3rd volume without no problems. The command files has been suspended, and then it was brought back.
That's all set, man. That's not a problem. It was suspended for 2 weeks, and then they had no case against them, and then it came back. So we're good.
It was suspended for a month, and
okay.
They still had to wait 48 hours before they could release it, which was today, is the end of the 48 hours. So the thing that I'm trying to get to is this is unprecedented. We've never had a Kickstarter that has been suspended and reignited. We've had Kickstarters suspended before and never brought back, but this time this was brought back. So the situation was, they needed to look at what was going on and evaluate what was happening, and then get it back going. And they did. So whatever happened, it's a positive that this is going to probably come out and we're going to get it, because this is unprecedented. We've never seen this before in the history of Kickstarter. It's the first time this has ever happened. As far as I'm aware, for my
that's something new. I guess you could say it happened, and then you can say it happened. You know, everything's going to happen that can happen, and that's just one more thing you can check off the list. So that's good. It all worked out.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts, James, on these 2 kind of bumps in the road for these 2 Kickstarter projects?
Well, I apologize. I saw I had to walk away, so I missed the first one, but I caught the After Action.
Kickstarter being suspended but then reinstated. I mean, it's just something different that happened. That's all.
Well, he mentioned 2 projects.
The RoboSkull being delayed.
Delays are just par for the course.
You know what? We didn't have one for 40 years, and if we don't have one for 2 or 3 more months, I don't think it's going to kill anyone. So
yeah, I can agree with that 100%.
Right.
That's the easy one. The After Action part, that's. I guess the big debate was if it was considered historical reference or not, was what versus the amount of imagery and text that they use. So as of this recording, we're not going to see. We don't know what the press release is on it, but they seem like they'll have something by the time this comes out. And of course, anytime we can get any G.I. Joe product that's well done and thorough, it's a good thing, I think.
And what about the the uptick in Action Force? Do you think the positive since the Robo Skull came out was put out? I think 2 years ago, and it was November of 2 years ago. Am I wrong in saying that?
It's been a while.
Two Novembers back, right, is when the Robo Skull came out, and there's been tons of Action Force stuff. There's the Tiger Force Outback. There's the Red Laser through Super 7. There's been the Super Joe comic that's been announced. And then there's a few other things. Oh, the Patty Lennon and Brian Hickey's third Kickstarter. They did the 2 hardbacks, then the softback, and now they're doing the Palatoy book with Bob Brecken. So what do you guys think about that? That's really ramping up for a really positive future.
Absolutely.
James.
I mean, more Joe in any capacity is a positive thing. It's great that they're looking at the international, and it's great that they're, really people on our side of the fence, or our side of the pond, I should say, are, gravitating towards that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more media that can generate more interest in it. The Robo Skull is going to bring some attention to Action Force of England, and it's going to maybe bring more collectors into the fold that maybe wouldn't have looked at British G.I. Joe, and now they will. And that's a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of really cool stuff in Action Force and other parts of the country. We've gotten all these cool Brazilian re-releases through Super 7 as well from Reaction, and they said that they have all kinds of ideas, and the whole width and breadth of G.I. Joe is within their grasp if they want to do it. I did a special interview with them not too long ago. They did say that Baroness in the Bikini is out.
Oh, really?
Wah, wah.
Sorry. No.
That's a shame, really. I mean, we should have Baroness in a bikini, Zorana in a one-piece swimsuit. I mean, all that stuff should be made at this point. I noticed that a lot of the stuff that gets made is just the things that we didn't get, but now we kind of do get it. You don't want to remake. You don't want to remake like a yet another Sky Striker and yet another. It's like, okay, there's enough of them out there. They made.
I think we finally
1.6 million.
I think we finally got the ultimate Sky Striker. I don't think we'll ever need another.
Oh yeah, never again.
Unless they do a classified one. But that.
Whoa. Well, to be clear about something, if it was 1/18 scaled accurately, it would be about 2.5 feet long, which is obviously bigger than the one that we got, right?
Yeah.
And if they did one in 1/6 scale accurately, and I kid you not, it would be almost as big as the flag. It would be like a 6-foot long Sky Striker. Yeah. It'd be so massive, So no, we're probably not going to get that. We're looking to get like Ram motorcycles and even a classified hiss. A classified hiss is still going to be like a big chunk.
Oh. I've seen the parameters. Someone shared the parameters of it, like a blueprint, not exact blueprint like you make, Jason, but the parameters, the inches. It's big. It is big. It is not a small toy in the least.
It's gotta be like 20 inches long, right? At least.
It's pretty big.
It's gonna be a big, and that thing's gonna be awesome. It's a shame that like I'm not really into classifieds, because it's just like you kind of have to draw the line in your life as to where you're gonna be and what you're gonna do. So if I got into classified, it's like my house is gonna go from being eaten by G.I. Joes to completely eaten by G.I. Joes, right? G.I. Joes everywhere. But yeah, the classified hits, I got 2 of those just because the whole design of it is just so sweet, and they put like LED lights in it and all sorts of crazy extras. Yeah, great project.
The 2 Hasbro HasLabs have been complete successes, and they only really reinvigorated the community and a lot of naysayers in the community that said there's no way they could do that. And they're doing it, and it was successful. It's one of the 2 most successful HasLabs that Hasbro has ever released, which says something that the legs of the G.I. Joe brand is still strong. Very strong. Yeah.
I want to say the biggest tragedy of this whole year has been that we didn't get the flight crew for the Sky Striker.
Yeah.
That's way worse than anything else we've talked about so far. That's the biggest tragedy, is that they actually set the bar so high. I think it was 18,000 units They should have put it at 16 and maybe made the other ones a little bit earlier, you know. But I don't know. They should have. The deck crew should have been like the first stretch goal, and then throw in like a Cobra pilot and a Cobra commander and the Cobra flight crew member. You got to figure the body for the Cobra ground crewman is the exact same body as the GI Joe flight crew. So it's like just slap the new head in the pack and give us that, or sell them for $20 each, and we'll buy them, whatever. You
But
know.
you bring up a good point, Jason, because we're talking about all these different aspects of the Joe community that have been successful and positive and doing really well. The independent customizer community of the portion of the GI Joe community is through the roof. People are
It's
making
true.
classified vehicles, all kinds of different weaponry, Gridiron Studios. Jason, you can talk a lot about these guys more than I can. Matt LaCroix is just knocking out of the park with all this stuff. And then some
Mm.
of these custom Kickstarters with all these really cool, interesting new characters that are in O-ring style. What can you tell us about that stuff? Because it's great.
What I can tell you is that someone's probably going to cast the Cobra ground crewman and make the GI Joe flight crew. I think is what we're going to look at happening. Well, the ground crew, pardon me. Someone's going to do it. I actually thought about doing it myself, but it's just like there's too many projects that I'm trying to undertake. You know, it's like challenge coin after challenge coin. It's like I get an idea as I'm sitting here at night thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, that foul card. We need that foul card. And it's just, it comes to a point where it's like, no, I don't want to have to commission a guy to cast this part for this much money and pay this guy to paint them. And then I have to sell them for like, $70 each to make any profit just to get like 50 or 60 of them out there. And then maybe they'd be hard to sell. I just wanted Hasbro to make them, to be honest, but
Well, yeah,
we'll see.
that would be the best thing. But you would think that Red Laser or Black Major could do that fairly easy because they already have the infrastructure to do that sort of stuff.
So it would cost them about, I think, to make a figure, it's like $10,000 to $12,000 for all the tooling. So that's one thing you have to consider. That means that they have to sell a lot of those. I mean, a lot of those at like they're typically about $10 each, maybe a little less. And then the quality, is it? It's not. It's still not going to be Hasbro quality. It's still going to be a little loose. It's still not going to be perfect. It's going to be like 85% of the way there. Whereas Hasbro figures are like they're well jointed, they're well put together. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. In the meantime, I mean, you can take a tripwire head, put it on a Cobra ground crewman, and have someone paint it professionally, and then say, there's my GI Joe ground crewman, right? So we'll see.
Oh, there you go. That's a great example.
What about all the
That's
other
right.
stuff that's going on with a lot of these things? You keep in touch with a lot more of that kind of community, Jason. What do you think about a lot of the stuff that people are doing?
I very much like it. I think we have some really valid stuff coming out. It's a shame when you think about it, though. There's a lot of talent out there, but they have a finite amount of time. I know this year we're getting a female Outback. I think Matt LaCroix, or maybe it's Lone Wolf. Maybe it's both. But anyways, I think they're collaborating. They're doing a female Outback for an O-ring figure. You know,
That'd be fun.
I think it's sweet. You know what I mean? So.
Well, there's two big points with the with the HasLab with that ground crew or whatever, the flight deck crew is, number one, they ran too many Kickstarters at once, or not Kickstarters, but HasLabs at once. So Sky Striker was barely going to make it on its own, but the moment that Rancor stuff came in, Rancor failed, for better or worse, and all that freed up a lot of HasLab money, which I would have loved to have seen. I would like to think they'd make a contingency rule that if things are just steamrolling, because that last 4 hours, they were really just hammering it. There's got to be a way, if there's some sort of momentum in the programming, that they would extend it an hour or 2 or 3, because that flight crew would have made it guaranteed. If that thing had 6 more hours, it would have shattered the flight crew.
I know, it's true.
And I even say that with the his tank. and that's great that we hit all our goals, and they even, and you can tell like that Cobra Commander was being whipped out, like they weren't even ready for that level of momentum. I
Yeah.
would have liked to see, and I'm not trying to say give me more greedy, but that thing, I have to believe that that thing shattered. It's it. I think that's the highest all time ever of just shattering its goals. I mean, I think the
The
sail barge,
fastest, maybe the fastest, but the sail barge was the highest.
it was
Mm.
indeed the highest. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely the fastest. I would have loved to have seen if you hit further goals in general on any project. I don't care. Like
Hmm.
if you're
Even like maybe an after the fact stretch goal, like if it
yeah,
really like absolutely goes through the roof, but they weren't even prepared for that, is actually throw something in after the fact to say, hey,
sure,
we really appreciate this. We're going to give you a set of, I don't know, laminated blueprints with a custom LED lit frame or something silly. I don't know.
sure, something.
Right.
I mean, it's not like the money isn't there. Like we did our part. We annihilated your expectations. So
Right.
I'm a full opinion that you should always throw a bone. If you give a
Hmm.
little, you'll get a lot
That's right.
with stuff like this.
It's true.
Yeah.
Carson has been doing that with his book. He's
Great
God.
example.
He spent an additional 70 grand, I think he said in his last video, to make this thing over the top, and it's gonna be. I cannot wait to get that.
Well, look how
His
much
book.
money, yeah, came in on that to shatter it. It shattered expectations.
Yeah.
Hmm. And that's a very
Um,
good point you bring up. And I really agree with that. Like the fans really like, extras and things like that. You got to figure right now I'm doing a specific coin. I'm going to put two patches with it just because I had two designs and I was going to do one, but I'm like, nah, just do two. Just pay the
Nice.
extra money and have two patches with it. Because then, you can do one on one shoulder and one on the other if you really want to add it to a t-shirt, right? So,
Sure.
cool.
so that kind of brings us to the future. What do you see as a positive future for the G.I. Joe brand going forward within, I don't know, the next year? Maybe we can reach this question again next year and see how far we got close enough, if we got close enough with the answers to this. Where do you think the brand is going to be next year, and what cool, positive things are going to be at market for the brand? Jake.
Dino Hunter mission set number 2.
Nice. Two
All
through
right, I'm
10.
all set. Thanks.
2 through 10. Yeah. Well, they've got the low light coming through, so you're
There you
halfway there
go.
to that.
Oh,
Jurassic
really?
Park is popular.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. I mean, if things look the way that it's going, I think the Joe Classified would shout out to Declassified, but Joe Classified 6-inch figures will have more out next year than this year, for starters, or within the time frame of this year. Super 7 doesn't look like it's slowing down, so I definitely think it is currently on an uptick.
Yep.
GI Joe. I mean, you can look at the trends and be honest that GI Joe seems to do 5 or 6 years and then dips and then comes back in after 2 years. But
Yep.
I
That's
think this
absolutely right.
6 inch, yeah, I think this
That is
six
the
inch.
cycle that they go off of. Actually, now that you mention it, funny.
I was
Sadly,
I was thinking it was a
Unless
20-year
you're collecting
cycle.
vintage after the fact, because then it just seems to generally keep
oh,
rolling, right?
Uh,
sure,
People
sure.
come and go.
I was thinking it was a 20-year cycle. If you actually look at it from when it started in 63, then it came back in 83, then it like blew up, came back in 2002 or 3, and then blew up again, and then came back in 2023.
It started in
Hmm.
'64, and then Real American Heroes started in '82. But I certainly get the 20 is, yeah, bald men don't split hairs, but but sure, within that realm, I mean, it's possible. That. I mean, I would take your point, even knock it again, give it the margin, but take it back to 2020. That was a nice 20-year cycle. In 2020, again, you're 6 inch, which is now to the roof. So sure,
We have San Diego Comic-Con coming up this year. There's probably going to be some cool classified stuff. There's rumblings about Chuckles. There's rumblings about a 3-pack with the Crimson Guards and Baroness and Crimson costumes. There's Super 7's got their store this year at San Diego Comic-Con, and it's going to be themed based on international troops and stuff like that. So what are we going to get for Ultimates and Reaction there? I know that you got a release of a wave of Tiger Force and Python Patrol figures coming out in June. There's another HasLab on the horizon. We've been getting all these hints over the last couple of weeks about another HasLab. What could that HasLab be? It's going to be Joe related. Everybody's certain of that. What would it be? A Vamp something else? There's a rumor of the Thunder Machine with Zartan and Zarana as O-Ring, and the Thunder Machine being a transformer into Soundwave coming. So just in the next 2 months, it looks very positive to me.
Was that poll official? It was the Snowcat, Thunder Machine, Dragonfly, and maybe the Vamp, something else? Or was that more of a fan poll?
That was a fan.
Okay.
For his, there was his tag, right?
.com.
Yeah, that was a fan poll. But any of those things, I would be happy with it if it's classified size.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hasbro was trying to toss out the Havoc. Then they have a box Havoc when they're doing the Hiss update, and there's
a Havoc classified.
Yeah,
really, that would be free.
And was that?
It'd be wild.
James? What was that, James? I didn't.
I think it was a red herring or them being funny, but they had the boxed Havoc and they had a box APC.
Okay.
As an image, and then one of the suggestions in the undertones of the you've seen the His Tank updates, right?
Yes.
Where it's a spy, Cobra sent a spy at Joe headquarters, and they're going back and forth, and Destro and Cobra Commander communiques. Like they created this fictitious story to immerse you in the storyline of it all. But then they showed.
I love that.
Oh, sure, it's fun.
You know why? Because the toy business is the entertainment business, and you have to tell a story.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. What we also wanted to incorporate in the fan club a little bit with the fiction and all that.
Right.
But yeah. So I think they were trying to dangle that there, but I have a feeling it's a red herring. It'll probably be something like the Snowcat or the Dragonfly or something.
I would absolutely love a classified Havoc, but I don't know if we would get a actual classified 1-for-1 version of Cross Country because of the
Oh, you would. They would just take the Confederate flag off of them if they really had to. They could just omit that one part. It's really not that big of a deal.
I would love that. If they did that, oh my God, I'd be getting like 10 of them. I couldn't afford 10 of them, but I would try to get them because Havoc is my favorite vehicle, my favorite G.I. Joe vehicle, and I would just absolutely love it. Jason knows why.
Yeah. So.
Sure.
What was it? I was going to say something else. So
cool.
There's speculation out there. I would love them to do the Tomahawk. I think you got to look at it from the perspective of story elements, like Jason said, story elements, trying to sell this as a theme. Like that's what the whole Night Force theme is at Walmart for this year, is this really cool, something creepy is going on at night, and they've got all these characters that are going to be involved, and there's all these different possibilities of characters being involved with the blue crystals that are on the packages. But I would love the zombies. I am all in for G.I. Joe zombies when they did them in Renegades and things like that. And they did
remember that.
I just think that's brilliant. And I did an interview with Daryl DePriest not 3 or 4 months back, and he had this whole idea of the invasion of the androids and robots, and I think it would be really cool to do something like that. Bring overkill and have this really
Sure.
awesome like ultimate overkill or something. I don't know. It's just speculation, but it looks really positive. A lot of the stuff looks exciting. Let's talk about both of you guys' future for the next year. What do you guys got cooking that you can share with our audience that
We
you would
can't
like
tell you
to?
that. That's confidential.
No, you can give some hints. Come
Exactly.
on.
Case closed.
This is the Fan
Yeah,
Club
yeah.
Live. We share stuff all the time.
That's right. It's true.
So,
Oh,
James,
sure.
what do you got coming down the pike?
Well, the big one's year 2 for GI Joe Fan Club. We're in the process of getting that going, getting that finalized. Actually, after this packet, I was going to pick your brain on some challenge coins. So yeah, talk to the expert. My vendor, I think he did a good job, but we'll save it for another live. But he would end up kind of being a real subpar individual.
Yeah, that's
my
true.
P's and Q's, but yeah, beyond that, I'm just trying to make it bigger and better. We'll have a couple store items.
We don't even need to wait, James. We can do it right now. We can do a comparison right this minute.
Oh,
Okay.
oh wow,
You can see it.
tough to beat. Well, Packers is bigger,
It is. It's rounder. It's like an
but
oval shape.
he always brings the thunder.
Yeah.
I always go for like the absolute maximum I can. I spare no expense when it comes to making those things, just because I want to have the best product possible.
Nice.
Anyways,
What size is that, by the way? Is that a 3-inch coin?
that is a 2.5-inch oval.
Oh,
The
okay.
ones I've done previously have been all 2.5 inches. The one that I'm going to come out with in maybe a couple of weeks is actually 3 inches
A
and
couple
shaped
weeks.
like an egg.
Wow.
Oh, fun.
3 inches. Absolutely huge, yeah. So the first one I did was a Crimson Guard Challenge coin. That was like 2019 to 2020. And that was 2.25 because everyone else that had them was doing 1.5 to 1.75. And I'm just like, that's not big enough. Really, a
Wow.
challenge coin has to be just so preposterously big. Not ridiculously big, but it has to be something of significance. But so in the pipeline for me, I'm doing the Nitro Viper card right now. I got tons of those out the door. I did a limited run of 100. I probably have like 35 or 40 of them that I've sent out in the last couple of days. People are crazy about them. They're on chipboard. They are not like the original. Cannot possibly confuse them for the original in any way, right? I got a challenge coin I'm going to come out with in a couple of weeks. And then for the rest of the year, I don't really know what. I know that next year is 2024, and that is what would that be, the 25th anniversary
60th.
of,
60th anniversary.
that's right.
G.I.
Actually,
Joe.
no, yeah, I was trying to think. It's right. Yeah, that's true. That would be the 50th anniversary, right? Or is it 60? Oh, it is 60. Oh, wow, that's
Time
right.
flies.
Holy crap. I know, right? And you never think that 1982 is like over 40 years ago, but here I am. I turned 41 last week. It's ridiculous,
I
you
know.
know?
Oh,
Let's not
So,
talk about age.
he's got to mature.
yeah.
The thing about it is,
Yeah.
Jason's got to mature now because he's in his 40s.
Oh my, that's no
I've
fun.
been in my 40s for over a year now, actually.
But he hasn't
Uh,
matured yet. So there you go.
I'm still not matured yet though, so I'm still behind the bar. But anyways,
Court is in
so
session, but I'm not here to
2000,
judge.
yeah,
Maturity.
2024 is the 35th anniversary of 1989, and it's also the 30th anniversary of 1994. So I got to do something for both years for sure. I can
Nice.
say that. So, and we'll see what they are. Anyone who knows me that knows what I like to post and like to post pictures of and all that will know probably what direction I'm going to go in with that.
So
And then, yeah.
was that a G.I. Joe Fan Club Live exclusive that you announced that you're going to have a coin at Joe Fest, an exclusive new coin at Joe Fest in 2 weeks?
I mean, you can say it is if you really want to. In generally, it's a Mud Toys exclusive, really.
So
So
when is the launch date for year 2 of the fan club, James? I don't want to put you on the spot or anything.
Oh well, I'm hoping to crank now that we got the membership kits out, and issue newsletter 2 will be being produced shortly. That obviously that'll go out instantaneously. We revise our process. I've always kind of said I want to bang out issues 2, 3, and 4 and see where I land. I don't want. I never gave a set time for better or worse, and I can never apologize enough that 2022 didn't treat any of us, me, certainly me as the buck stops here head honcho, as well for the fan club. But I've never wanted to start year 2 until the newsletters are all caught up and people are getting what they paid for year 1. I never think that's right to take in more money. When we talk about the pros and cons of Kickstarters and any sort of pseudo fan business sort of thing, I never try to take on more than what's been put out there, and I don't want to get backlog on both ends. So that's kind of always been my non-answer. The moment issue 3 is out or in hands is when I'll start.
Well,
We're just cranking, trying to
but
get
that
our
makes
rhythm down.
sense because I was talking to Brian Flynn not too long ago on the G.I. Joe Fan Club Live Special Edition, and that is his modus operandi. He puts out 3 waves, he announces or once he announces 3 waves, gets 2 or so in hand, he announces the next wave, gets that next one in hand, and so it's like a cycle. And that's the fair way to do it, because then the good faith is there. Hey, he already gave us 3 issues. He gave us the kit. Yeah, he's going to give us the 4th one, I'm pretty sure. And you can get your next rolling period.
Oh, well, Super 7 is absolutely. When they're in official business, tried and true, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. There's can't say enough good things and state the obvious with them, but the meat and potatoes comparison, they have their rhythm down. They've had it down for a decade or 2 now. I'm on year 1, and there's a lot eye opening in a multitude of levels. That we'll save that for another video. But really getting your rhythm down, yes, is paramount. And if anybody that's ever done a Kickstarter and they've asked for my feedback, my statements have always been consistent, and nothing's kind of disappointed me, for lack of a better term. When people are sitting there saying, "Here's what I'm going to do for Wave 2 and Wave 3 and Wave 77," when you don't have Wave 1 samples from Wave 1 back to the factory, we all have wild-eyed dreams, and yeah, Packard, you can agree. You've probably got a million file cards you'd love to do, or a million challenge coins. But you slow your roll, you focus on the project X at the time, right? And sure, you're probably doing steps 1 and 2, but you seem to tout your horn on anything you do, and you're always anything you're putting out it's in its rhythm, it's in, it's out, it's done, and there's no BS. You can always count on Packard. So whatever he's putting out, you're going to get in a timely fashion, and life is grand. And that's what the G.I. Joe fan club.
And there's a lot of, and you're absolutely right. There's a ton of stuff that I'd like to do, but I have to take a moment subjectively and realistically come to grips with the fact that some of the things just aren't going to sell. Like I'd love to do, a Mega Viper challenge coin, right? But you got to think of this like it's so far from anything G.I. Joe mainstream that. The probability that I'm really going to actually move 100 of those things, it's just never going to happen, But that's just one example.
Sure, you could argue that they would catch on, and like there's a cult following that maybe eventually the inevitable. If things are consistently selling at 100 coins, then inevitably people are going to want them. They're going to want what they don't have.
Yeah.
And if you reach that point, if you've gotten to the 400 figure and it's the Monstro Viper, then gang on. But right now we're trying to cover, both of us, I don't think I'm putting any words in your mouth, but I'm saying both of us are trying to cover the basics one step at a time. And that's what we're trying to get year 1 nailed down before we do year 2.
And I can almost speak for Dan, not to put any words in Dan's mouth. He always intended to do 12 issues, and now he's looking at doing a 13 and a 14th issue because he's got so much extra material, but he couldn't think that far ahead, and now he's got 11 in everybody's hands. Now he's working on 12, and I know he's working on 13 and 14 as well. And so you're always thinking ahead, because if you don't think ahead, then you're just kind of dead. And I think the RoboSkull guys are doing the same thing. They have ideas, but they've got to get the RoboSkull in people's hands. And, it's just common sense. It's business.
Sure. And Dan's got his rhythm down. Fantastic. So he's checking all the aces in this conversation. And yeah, RoboSkull has mentioned that they have some really wild dreams coming up that we know they're going to happen. Ben's proof positive, but yes, they're not releasing them because one step at a time. I hope people take that away when they're watching it and in their projects.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all that said, I want to close this out by giving my appreciation for all the folks that came on to the G.I. Joe Fan Club Live. All my co-hosts, James Kavanaugh, Dan Klainsmith, Jason Morrell, and Jason Packard, and especially Jason Packard for helping me edit and get bumpers and do credits for all these videos for the G.I. Joe Fan Club community who will be watching this in the future. I want to thank all the guests that have been gracious enough to join me and join us in this series, 12 episodes and a special. Roger Taft, Buzz Dixon, Carson Metaxas, Philip Donnelly, Adam Riches, Kerp Uzigian. Hawk Sanders is a fill-in guest host with Patty Lennon and Tim Finn, and future guests Mark Weber, Patrick Stewart, for being a wonderful guest and talking about all the world and breadth of G.I. Joe from its beginning to its inception. And I hope that these videos have been entertaining for all of our viewers and fans and members out there. And if you want to have any upcoming subject matter covered, feel free to let us know in the comments below. And this is going to be the end of our season 1. And again, thank you, James Kavanaugh. Thank you, Jason, for joining me tonight on this last of our yearbook special, I guess we can call it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, David, I can't thank you enough. I mean, as the guy that's running the fan club, for taking this on. And obviously, Packard, can't thank you enough. You're here. And then the rest of the guys, we discussed that privately. But to shout out to everybody, it's been great. I'm glad you honchoed this series, David, and put up with a lot of the back and forth and wrangling cats of sorts with everybody, including me.
Schedules.
Schedules, all that, yes. It's certainly an eye-opening. I've never really hosted been involved with anything on the front more at this level with video and audio podcasts. So it's great. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's been a pleasure. I love talking about G.I. Joe. I love being in the community and trying to contribute something positive and something that people enjoy. And it's really been exciting and fun for me. Thank you.
And I also have to give Packard extra credits and thank yous for putting up with David on the back. Editing and all that. I can only imagine.
I spent a lot of time editing videos in the last 3-4 months. I can tell you that it's been quite involving.
I appreciate it.
For the future of the G.I. Joe Fan Club Live, we plan on doing season 2. We're going to take a little break, and we'll come back probably in the fall with James Blessing and hopefully more exciting guests and more interesting and earth-shattering topics to talk about. And so I look forward to that very much. So thank you again, and we will talk to you next time.
Yo, Joe!
Yo, Joe.